Hello students, welcome to Unit 5 revision class of SST. So students, we will revise today Unit 5 of Geography, which is using resource to make a living. Okay students? So in this unit we will be studying 3 chapters. First is agriculture, second is industries and third one is human resource. Okay students? सो फर्स्ट चैप्टर में पहला टॉपिक जो हमारा है वो है इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. तो इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी क्या होता है? मेकिंग, बाइंग और सेलिंग ऑफ गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज इज नोन एज इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. तो कोई भी ऐसी एक्टिविटी जहाँ पे मेकिंग, बाइंग या सेलिंग जैसी आइटम्स होती हैं उन्हें क्या कहते हैं? उन्हें कहते हैं इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी. ठीक है. नाउ इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी हैज़ 3 मेन प्रोसेसेस. तो इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी में 3 प्रोसेस होती हैं. पहली प्रोडक्शन, सेकंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड थर्ड वन इज कंजप्शन. प्रोडक्शन का मतलब कोई चीज़ बनाना, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का मतलब उसको बांटना, थर्ड कंजप्शन का मतलब उसको यूज़ करना या खाना, कंज्यूम करना. ठीक है.
Agriculture. Hello students. Scenes like these are very common in India. And I am sure you can easily tell what these people were doing. Yes, they were farming. Agriculture is the technical term used for the practice of farming. It involves the growing of crops and the rearing of animals to provide food, wool, dairy, and other products. We already know that economic activities can be classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Can you guess which category would agriculture fall in? Yes, since agriculture uses natural resources like land, water, and plants directly, we can say that it's a primary activity. Today, we will be learning a little more about this primary activity, agriculture. But why should we study about agriculture? It's because agriculture is the most common economic activity across the world. For example, in India, 2/3 of the population is directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture for its income. And in addition, all of us depend on agriculture for our food. So, agriculture and its development directly affect each one of us. Due to this high dependency on agriculture, people across the world practice farming. However, not all regions have arable land. This means all regions do not have land that is suitable to grow crops. Additionally, some regions may have conditions that are suitable to grow only particular crops. Now, this variation is because of the 2 main environmental conditions or factors that influence agriculture. The first is topography of soil, and the second is climate. Let's understand what these mean with respect to agriculture. Let's begin with topography of soil. Topography refers to different features of the land and the soil of a place. It tells us things such as whether a place is rocky, flat, sandy, or sloping. Now, let's picture a region, say region X, whose topography is something like this. It has steep, rocky mountains. And another region, region Y, has flat land with soft or loamy soil. Which place's topography do you think is more suitable for agriculture? Yes, region Y. The rocky slopes of region X would make it very difficult to grow crops. Therefore, a suitable topography would mean more arable land. The next factor is climate. I am sure you already know that climate refers to the weather conditions of an area over a long period of time. This includes factors such as the rainfall and temperature of a place. Now, let's see 2 places with different climatic conditions. Place A is warm and receives rainfall throughout the year. Place B is very cold and receives very little rainfall. Which one do you think would be more suitable for agriculture? Yes, place A. Warm climate with adequate rainfall is definitely more suited for farming. Based on these factors, you can see that this map shows how there are some regions in the world that have more arable land than others. Can you see how almost all of our country's land is arable? As we saw earlier, agriculture is the most common economic activity in India. While there are reasons like low levels of education and skill development that push more people into farming, the main factors that make agriculture so common in India are the high proportion of arable land and a suitable warm climate with adequate rainfall. Bye bye and happy learning!
सो स्टूडेंट्स, अब हमारा जो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है वो है हमारा सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग। सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग का मतलब क्या होता है? जब भी आप फार्मिंग अपने यूज़ के लिए या अपने खाने के लिए कोई चीज़ प्रोड्यूस करते हो, उसे क्या कहा जाता है? सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग। देर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग। दो तरीके की सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग होती है। पहली होती है इंटेंसिव। इंटेंसिव का मतलब जहाँ पे आप कुछ थोड़े बहुत टूल्स यूज़ करके आप सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग करते हो। और सेकंड होती है प्रिमिटिव। प्रिमिटिव का मतलब पुरानी। तो जब वहाँ पे आप पुरानी तरीके से पुराने औजारों से आप सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग करते हो तो उसे कहा जाता है प्रिमिटिव सब्सिडेंस फार्मिंग। अब हमारा जो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है वो है हमारा कमर्शियल फार्मिंग। इसको हम एक वीडियो के थ्रू समझते हैं।
In commercial farming, the area cultivated is usually large. Such farming requires a large amount of capital or money, and most of the work is done by machines. Technology has played an important role in the origin of commercial farming. The inventions of machines and high yield variety seeds has enabled farms to produce more output. An interesting question for you here, students, is which of the following items will be helpful in commercial farming? Why do you think so? So you have item A and item B. You have 30 seconds to think. Students, item A, which is a tractor with a plow, will be more helpful in commercial farming. Why? Because it will get more work done than the manual plow as shown in item B. Students, commercial farming is of three types: commercial grain farming, mixed farming, and plantation agriculture.
Hello students! We know that most of our food comes from agriculture. But along with food, agriculture also provides raw materials for other industries. There are a few crops that are quite important and are grown abundantly across the world. Today, let's learn about a few of these important types of crops. First, food or grain crops. Next, fiber crops. And lastly, beverage crops. The most commonly grown grain or food crops are rice, wheat, maize, and millets. The two majorly grown fiber crops are cotton and jute. These crops are used to make threads that can be converted to cloth and other products such as ropes and baskets. And the last one on our list today are beverage crops such as coffee and tea. Now, let's understand the conditions and places suitable for growing these crops. Let's begin with food crops such as rice, wheat, maize, and millet, and understand the type of climate suitable for growing them. Rice grows well in areas having high temperature and abundant rainfall. In contrast, both wheat and maize grow well in areas having moderate temperature and rainfall, along with bright sunshine. Millets grow well in areas having moderate to high temperature and low rainfall. Now let's see the type of soil they grow in. Clayey alluvial soil is required for growing rice. In contrast, fertile loamy soil is needed for growing both wheat and maize, and sandy soil is suitable for growing millets. Based on these climatic conditions and soil requirements, you can guess that rice would grow best in tropical and subtropical regions because they are warm and receive a lot of rainfall. Did you know that China is the world's leading producer of rice, followed by India? Wheat and maize both need similar climatic conditions. Countries such as the USA, Canada, India, and China are some of the major producers of these crops. Millets are grown in African countries such as Niger and Nigeria, and in Asian countries such as India and China. Next, we have fiber crops such as cotton and jute. Let's understand the type of climate suitable for growing them. While both the crops grow well in areas having a warm climate, jute needs much higher rainfall than cotton. As far as soil is concerned, cotton grows well in black and alluvial soils, and jute grows well in alluvial soil. Since they need a warm climate, can you guess which countries they would grow well in? Yes, tropical and subtropical countries are suitable for growing these crops. India is the largest producer of cotton, followed by countries such as Egypt, Pakistan, China, and Brazil. Bangladesh and India are the leading producers of jute. The last ones on the list are beverage crops such as coffee and tea. Let's understand the type of climate suitable for growing them. Coffee grows well in areas having a warm climate. In contrast, tea grows well in areas having a cool climate and rainfall all year round. Moving on to the soil requirements. Both crops need well-drained, loamy soil, and they grow well on hill slopes. On the basis of their climate and soil requirements, Brazil, Colombia, and India produce most of the world's coffee. Also, Kenya, India, Sri Lanka, and China produce the best quality tea in the world. So today, we explored the major crops that are grown around the world. The next time you eat rice, drink tea, or have corn, remember how it grows and where it may have come from.
So students, our next topic is industries. Industries are involved in economic activities that include production of goods, extraction of minerals, and provision of services. For example, shoe making industry, कोल माइनिंग एंड शिपिंग इंडस्ट्री. तो ये इंडस्ट्रीज़ क्या चीज़ होती हैं जो सामान को बनाती हैं, मिनरल्स को निकालती हैं और आपको सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करती हैं. ठीक है. देयर आर 4 टाइप ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज बेस्ड ऑन रॉ मटेरियल. सो यहाँ 4 तरीके की इंडस्ट्रीज़ होती हैं जो हमारी रॉ मटेरियल बेस करती हैं. पहली होती है एग्रो बेस्ड, सेकंड होती है मिनरल बेस्ड, थर्ड होती है मेराइन बेस्ड एंड लास्ट वन इज़ फॉरेस्ट बेस्ड. एग्रो बेस्ड में क्या आता है? एग्रो बेस्ड में जो इंडस्ट्रीज़ जो एग्रीकल्चर और प्लांट्स एंड एनिमल्स प्रोडक्ट को यूज़ करती हैं एज अ रॉ मटेरियल, उन्हें कहा जाता है एग्रो वेस्ट. इसका एग्जांपल क्या है? इसका एग्जांपल है लाइक वेजिटेबल ऑयल, कॉटन टेक्सटाइल, डेयरी एंड ऑल यूज़ एग्रीकल्चर पर जो भी एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट्स बनाती हैं वो सारी क्या होती हैं? एग्रो बेस्ड इंडस्ट्रीज़. सेकंड होती है मिनरल वेस्ट. मिनरल वेस्ट में क्या होता है? जहाँ पे मिनरल ओर्स को यूज़ करके एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया जाता है. जैसे है हमारा आयरन एंड स्टील इंडस्ट्री, जैसे उसमें ओर यूज़ किया जाता है आयरन और. सीमेंट इंडस्ट्री, जैसे उसमें कैल्शियम से सीमेंट को बनाया जाता है. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट है हमारा मेराइन बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री. मेराइन बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री ऐसी इंडस्ट्रीज़ होती है जो प्रोडक्ट यूज़ करती हैं सी और ओशियंस वाले. फॉर एग्जांपल सी फूड और फिश ऑयल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंट्रीज़ लाइक इंडस्ट्रीज़, जैसे सी फूड जो हमारी सी फूड बेचती हैं वो इंडस्ट्री, और जो फिश का ऑयल बेचती हैं वो इंडस्ट्रीज़. ठीक है. अब नेक्स्ट है हमारा फॉरेस्ट बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री. फॉरेस्ट बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री ऐसी होती है जो फॉरेस्ट के प्रोड्यूस को यूज़ करती है एज अ रॉ मटेरियल. इसका एग्जांपल क्या हो सकता है? पल्प एंड पेपर इंडस्ट्री, जहाँ पेपर फॉरेस्ट से बनता है, पेड़ से बनता है. और फार्मास्यूटिकल्स मतलब मेडिसिन्स जो हैं वो पेड़ पत्तियों की बनती हैं. और फर्नीचर इंडस्ट्रीज वो भी लकड़ी का बनता है. ठीक है. अब जो सेकंड हमारी इंडस्ट्री है वो है बेस्ड ऑन साइज। साइज दो तरीके का हो सकता है, पहला स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री, सेकंड है लार्ज स्केल इंडस्ट्री। स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री में जहाँ पे कैपिटल बहुत कम यूज़ होती है, छोटे स्केल पे काम होता है, उसे कहते हैं स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री। जहाँ पे कैपिटल बहुत ज़्यादा यूज़ होती है और बहुत बड़े स्केल पे काम होता है, उसे कहते हैं लार्ज स्केल इंडस्ट्री। ठीक है। और अब हमारा लास्ट है वो है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ ओनरशिप। ओनरशिप में पहले प्राइवेट सेक्टर हो सकता है, प्राइवेट मतलब प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल। सेकंड पब्लिक सेक्टर, पब्लिक सेक्टर का मतलब गवर्नमेंट इंडस्ट्रीज। सी जॉइंट सेक्टर, जॉइंट सेक्टर मतलब आधी प्राइवेट आधी पब्लिक। एंड डी कोऑपरेटिव सेक्टर, जहाँ पे बहुत सारी कोऑपरेटिव लोग जुड़े होके इंडस्ट्री को चलाते हैं। ठीक है।
Factors that influence the location of industries. We just saw how you need to consider many factors when deciding to set up your sugar factory. Now, let us look at some factors that influence the location of all kinds of industries. Today, we will look at 8 main factors that influence the location of industries. They are raw materials, land, water, labor, power, capital, transport, and market. Let us look at each of these factors in detail. Being close to the source of raw materials reduces the cost of transport. Therefore, industries like the iron and steel industry are located near coalfields. Then we have land. Industries require large areas of flat land because it is easy to build factories on flat land. Transportation on flat lands is also easier and cheaper than in areas that are rocky or hilly. Next is the availability of water. Industries require huge amounts of water for production. Thus, it is preferable to establish industries in areas with a good water supply, like near rivers or lakes. Next, we have labor. Labor refers to the people who work in industries. Without labor, there would be no one to do the work. Therefore, industries are usually located in places where a large number of people are available to work. The next factor is power. Power generally refers to the electricity needed to produce goods and run machines. Thus, areas where electricity is available and is cheap are preferred for industries. Next, we have capital. Capital refers to the wealth or money that can be used to start and run a business. More industries are seen in developed areas or countries where capital is easily available. Next is transport. Transport is a basic service needed to move raw materials and finished goods from one place to another. Therefore, industries are set up in areas that have well-connected transport systems. The last thing on our list is a market. If you do not have a place to sell your product, it is useless to set up a factory. A market refers to the physical or online space where sellers can sell their products to buyers. Industries are usually located in places where markets are easily accessible and where there are buyers for those products. So, we just saw how a variety of factors help determine where an industry should be set up. They are raw materials, land, water, labor, power, capital, transport, and a market.
Iron and steel industries. Can you think of a machine that is not made of iron or steel? I'm sure that would have been difficult. It is almost impossible to think of machines that are not made of iron and steel. And not just machines, even the things that we use every day, from a tiny pin to a car, and from buildings to bridges. They're all either made of iron and steel or are made using tools and machines which are made of iron or steel. Now, do you know the difference between iron and steel? Yes, iron is a metal. Steel, on the other hand, is a stronger material and is an alloy of iron. It looks something like this. Due to its strength and resistance to corrosion, most industries use steel to make heavy machines and tools. But how is steel made from iron ore? Let's find out. Like any industry, the iron and steel industry has inputs, processes, and outputs. Labor, capital, a manufacturing plant, and raw materials like iron ore, limestone, and coal acts as inputs. These raw materials are put into a blast furnace, which is a tower-shaped pot, and are heated intensely using hot air. Once this process is complete, the product or the output that comes out of the furnace is steel. Due to the availability of iron ore and its physical properties, all types of industries use iron and steel. These two materials have helped us build large cities and machines that allow us to live comfortably. This is why it is said that iron and steel form the backbone of modern civilization. Due to the high demand for these two materials today, you can find iron and steel industries all around the world. But this wasn't an easy journey. Let's see how these industries were built and how they changed locations over the years and why. Before 1800 CE, the iron and steel industry would be located where raw materials, power supply, and running water were easily available. This was mainly because iron ore and coal are bulky raw materials and transporting them would not be easy. As years passed, people chose to build these industries near coal fields and railway stations because it enabled easy transport. Then, around the 1950s, these industries were built on flat lands close to seaports because people needed to import iron ore from other countries. Now let's see where the iron and steel industries are located in India. In India, iron and steel producing centers are located in the areas where people can find raw materials, cheap labor, transport, and a market easily. The important iron and steel producing areas in India are Bhilai in Chhattisgarh, Durgapur and Burnpur in West Bengal, Jamshedpur and Bokaro in Jharkhand, Rourkela in Odisha, Bhadravati and Vijayanagar in Karnataka, Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, and Salem in Tamil Nadu. Most of these centers are located in the eastern part of India because iron ore is found abundantly in the region. So we saw how over time the iron and steel industry has become the backbone of modern civilization. We also saw the inputs, processes, and outputs of the industry and how its location has changed over the years. And finally, we learnt about all the iron and steel centers located in India. Bye-bye. Happy learning.
सो स्टूडेंट्स, हमारा जो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक है वो है हमारा ह्यूमन रिसोर्स। तो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स में कौन कौन आता है? जितने भी इंडिविजुअल्स हमारे यहाँ प्लेनेट पे रहते हैं वो क्या बनाते हैं? ह्यूमन रिसोर्स। ठीक है, उसका एग्जांपल क्या हो सकता है? एक शेफ़ हो सकता है, एक टीचर हो सकता है, डॉक्टर हो सकता है, टेलर हो सकता है और फार्मर हो सकता है। जितने भी लोग हमारे अर्थ पे हैं और वो कुछ ना कुछ काम कर रहे हैं तो वो क्या बनाते हैं? दे ऑल मेक अप फॉर ह्यूमन रिसोर्स। ओके स्टूडेंट्स,
easily represented using a figure called a population pyramid. Let us learn what it is through a video. While watching the video, observe the thickness of different pyramids at the bottom, middle, and top part.
Population pyramids. Hello students. We have learnt that the population composition of different places varies on the basis of age, sex, literacy, occupation, health condition, and income level. We also know that it is important to understand this information as it can help governments plan better for a country's development. Today, we will look at a method that is used to understand the composition or structure of a population, the population pyramid. Now, what comes to your mind when you hear the term population pyramid? Do you think of a pyramid with people on it? Well, it's not exactly that, but yes, a population pyramid is a graphical illustration that shows how the population is divided among different age groups and the two sexes. Therefore, it is also known as the age-sex pyramid. It is called a pyramid because the graph usually forms a shape similar to that of a pyramid. Now let us understand how to interpret a population pyramid with the help of an example. The pyramid has two x-axes that show the percentage of males and females in the population respectively. You can see that 0 is at the center of the pyramid. The axis on the left shows the percentage of the males and the axis on the right shows the percentage of the females. The y-axis shows the age distribution. We can see that it has been displayed in intervals of 0 to 4 years, 5 to 9 years, and so on. Now, looking at the pyramid, do you think you can tell what percentage of the population belongs to each age group? If not, let us understand how. The size of the pyramid at the bottom shows us the percentage of children and therefore the level of births in a country. The size of the pyramid in the middle tells us what percentage of people are economically active or able to work. And the size of the pyramid at the top shows us the percentage of aged people and gives us an idea of the number of deaths in the country. Next, if the left and right bars are equal in length, it means that the percentage of males and females is the same. But if one is longer than the other, it shows us that there is a difference between the two. As the composition of the population differs from country to country, the shape of their population pyramid also changes. Population pyramids can have many different shapes. Let's see a few. Some pyramids have a broad base and are narrow at the top. That means there is a high birth rate and high death rate. Some pyramids are narrow at the bottom and broader towards the center and a little narrow again at the top, like this one. This means that the number of births and deaths is low. Reading and analyzing population pyramids can give us an idea of births, deaths, health conditions, the sex ratio, and so many more things. But we can get this information directly from numbers too. So why should we make population pyramids? Let's find out with the help of an example. Here is the age and sex data of Brazil in 1980 and 2019. Is it easy to spot the changes? No, not really. And it is also time consuming. How about by looking at the population pyramid? Yes, we can easily spot the change in the shape here. This means that the population composition of the country has changed too. For example, we can see that the percentage of children has reduced, which means that the number of births have reduced. We can also see that a higher percentage of people were living till an old age in 2019 since the bars at the top are wider. We were able to conclude all of this just by looking at this one population pyramid. It would have taken us a lot of time and effort if we would only have numbers to look at, wouldn't it? So, we saw how population pyramids make it much easier to understand the population composition of a place. It also tells us about the age composition and the percentage of males and females in the population. As we learn more about these pyramids, we will understand how to interpret them even better. Bye-bye. Happy learning.